Vikings, let's win the game.
Vikings fan, today was one of those days that shakes anyone who bleeds purple. There was unexpected movement in the secondary, massive locker room pressure heading into the matchup against Chicago. An explosive outburst from a player who is clearly tired of losing on the field. The NFL coming down with yet another fine that already feels like a targeted pursuit. And to top it off, a concern that left the entire Vikings nation on edge. And honestly, that last headline is enough to leave anyone's heart in their throat. But before we dive into every detail of this breakdown, let me say something quick. Hit that subscribe button. It is free, and it seriously helps keep this fan-driven space alive. While you're at it, tap the like button, because that helps YouTube push this video to more fans around the world, and drop a comment too. This space belongs to the entire Vikings nation. Man, just when we thought Tuesday would be quiet, we got blindsided by the news of Asante Samuel Jr. landing on the Steelers' practice squad before even finishing his scheduled visits. I will be honest, it annoyed me in the moment, because the entire Purple Faithful was following this situation like someone waiting on the very last loaf of fresh bread. But truthfully, the Vikings' reaction was the kind that makes a fan breathe deep and think, all right, the front office is not sleeping on the job. Only here do you get this kind of Vikings fan perspective. Losing Samuel was never the plan, of course. 6 teams were after the guy. He had a visit scheduled in Chicago. Everyone expected him to stop in Minneapolis before making a decision. And suddenly Pittsburgh calls, and he signs instantly. The explanation makes sense. The Steelers' neurosurgeon is the same doctor who operated on his spine. When it comes to neck and spine issues, no one plays around. And honestly, I do not blame the player for trusting the doctor who knows his case best. What really caught my attention, though, was the Vikings' quick pivot, no complaining, no theatrics. Within minutes, they announced cornerback Shamar Bartholomew, a rookie who slipped through the draft but became a preseason sensation at roster cut time. No flashy hype, no empty promises. The kid literally had 4 teams submitting claims for him. 4! That does not happen to just anyone. The Panthers secured him because they had priority, but now he arrives in Minnesota hungry for an opportunity. And look, I watched his preseason tape with the Jets, and I will admit, I was surprised. 0 receiving yards allowed on 9 targets, a passer rating of 39.6. That is veteran-level tape from an undrafted rookie trying to earn a locker. The off-script reaction here? If he repeats even half of that, I might start smiling without meaning to. The reality is simple. The cornerback room is thin. Jeff Okudah is on injured reserve after another concussion protocol setback, which hurts a lot. Fabian Moreau is holding things down as best he can. Dwight McGlothern is the last corner on the active roster, and we all know special teams becomes the doorway for a young player trying to carve a role. Bartholomew will not steal anyone's job tomorrow, but he will push the room. And pushing is good. Fans, and especially the female fan base, have been demanding depth for a while. And as for Samuel Jr., that story is not completely dead. Any team can poach him off the Steelers' practice squad by offering him a 53-man roster spot. But honestly, after seeing the injury details and his choice of Pittsburgh, I do not feel Minnesota is as invested anymore. Maybe that is for the best. Tell me what you think, and stick around, because what comes next hits even harder. My friend, just thinking about this matchup with Chicago twists my stomach. This is a game that carries weight, that irritates, that keeps anyone who lives the defend the North mindset awake at night. And to be honest with you, there is no sugarcoating today. It is win or start looking at the season with that bitter what-if feeling. Everything hangs by a thread. The numbers do not lie. 11% playoff chances right now, dropping to 4% with a loss. It hurts just to say it. And when pressure reaches that level, you go back to fundamentals. Only here do you get this Vikings fan read, because I speak as someone who has watched this team pull off impossible comebacks and also collapse when things seemed under control. The first key is crystal clear. Stay ahead of the chains. No 3rd and 9, no long conversions putting McCarthy in the fire. The kid flashes brilliance, but consistency is still a struggle. No one expects a quarterback with only 4 starts to carry the whole offense. He needs help. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason must get clean yards early. Not highlight plays every time, just steady movement. And the quick aside here, 8 false starts again. And I swear I am turning the TV off for 2 minutes so I do not say something dumb. And that is not all. The second key is an old one. Protect the football. Chicago thrives on turnovers. Their defense is not dominant snap to snap. But when the chance arises to take the ball away, they bite hard. 13 interceptions, 7 fumble recoveries. It is wild. Nearly all those takeaways came in their wins. When Chicago cannot force turnovers, they unravel. Minnesota must play with emotional control. McCarthy already has 6 interceptions and 1 fumble in this short stretch, which ties directly back to the first key. If the offense avoids digging holes, the rookie will not be forced into desperation throws. And yes, the female fans are calling for this too. Less chaos, more composure. Then comes the third key, the toughest one. Bring down Caleb Williams. The guy reinvented himself from last year. He used to be a sack magnet. Now he barely goes down. Pressure gets there, but he slips out, spins, runs, pivots, launches. It is maddening. Week 1 proved it. Minnesota chased him all game and only earned 2 sacks at the end. The plan now must be disciplined, organized, with perfect rush lanes, because any wrong angle and he punishes you instantly. And with Jonathan Greenard dealing with injury and likely out, the burden gets even heavier for the rest of the line. One misstep changes everything. Drop your opinion in the comments, because the next topic shifts the entire mood. Let me say this right away. When Jefferson posts something like that, it shakes the entire fan base. It hits me. It hits you. It hits anyone who has worn purple since childhood. The entire Vikings nation feels that chill instantly. And to be honest with you, this is not just any wide receiver talking. This is the guy who changed the standard for the entire league. So when he writes, "I need to get back to year 3 Jets," it is not drama. It is a competitor staring into the mirror saying, "I am below my own expectations." And yeah, this has been a weird stretch. Jefferson is not having a bad season. Not even close. He has 686 yards, top 10 in the league, on pace for around 1,300. Plenty of receivers would kill for that. But that is exactly the point. Jefferson does not think like most receivers. His benchmark is different. His ceiling became everyone else's measuring stick. His 2022 season was absurd, historic, almost unfair as a comparison. And yet, we compare. And he compares too. That is the tough part. Only here do you get this Vikings fan lens. Right now there is a blend of frustration and maturity. Yes, McCarthy has been inconsistent. That is obvious. Their rhythm is still off. Jefferson has 17 catches on 34 targets since the rookie took over, and several of those could have been highlights. But it is not all on the young quarterback. Last week against Baltimore, Jefferson had a sloppy route, lost timing with Marlon Humphrey, and dropped what should have been a 25-yard touchdown. That almost never happens. Ever. And I think that bothers him more than the numbers. And here is the thing. When the leader sets that level of accountability, everyone feels it. Male fans, female fans, the entire locker room. It was not blame, not an indirect message to anyone. It was Jefferson looking at himself and saying, "This is not enough." That matters. That carries weight. That shifts the atmosphere of an offense heading into its biggest game of the year. Quick aside, I will admit, when I saw that story, I paused the video I was watching, took a breath, and thought, yep, he is fired up now. And when Justin Jefferson gets fired up, that is usually a good thing for Minnesota. In the middle of all this pressure, the offense still revolves around him. If Minnesota wants to control Chicago, Jefferson must be Jefferson. Not the good, steady version, the monstrous 2022 version. And it seems like he is ready to drag that out of himself again, even if he has to force it. Talk to me in the comments. Seriously, you do not want to miss what comes next. Honestly, I am still frustrated about this Dallas Turner situation, because I grew up watching tough Minnesota defenses, and some things simply do not align with how the NFL officiates today. I am not saying defenders should try to take a quarterback's head off. Nothing like that. But that hit on Lamar? Come on. A few years ago, that was textbook. Now it becomes a potential fine of more than $17,000. It is enough to drive any Purple faithful supporter crazy. To be fair, I get that the league wants to protect quarterbacks. Their health keeps the product alive. But there is a thin line between protecting and turning defense into gymnastics. Turner came off the edge, had a clean lane, wrapped him up, and fell with him. No malice, no delay, no launching. It was just football, and I am not the only one saying it. Even Michael Strahan, who owes nothing to anyone, called it out on air. It is impossible to avoid that in the flow of the game. When a Hall of Famer talks like that, you know the call was off. But the NFL rarely backs down, and with Turner already fined earlier in the year for an unnecessary roughness call against Justin Herbert, a hit that actually deserved a penalty, the league is now watching him closely. Only here do you get this Vikings fan view. There is real fear that the NFL wants to teach the rookie a lesson. And what is worse, it affects how he plays. It affects his aggression. No one wants Turner second-guessing himself mid-tackle, thinking too much on defense is how mistakes happen. And the timing is brutal. Jonathan Greenard might miss the game with a shoulder issue, giving Turner an even bigger workload. The kid has been improving. Better rush angles, more discipline, more consistency. Ironically, last week against Baltimore might have been his best game yet, aside from the controversial flag. 71.0 PFF grade, steady pressure, great movement. He was finally hitting his stride. Then the league drops this cloud over him. Quick aside, if I were Turner, I would use a pillow just to punch it a few times after seeing that flag. And the female fans feel this too. Defenders today are expected to predict the impossible. The rulebook tells them to fall sideways, brace with their arms, avoid putting weight on the quarterback, all while arriving at full speed, dodging blockers and closing the angle perfectly. It is like asking physics to take a break. And here is the real concern. If Greenard sits out, Turner becomes a central piece against one of the slipperiest quarterbacks in the league, and now, with a looming fine, he will feel the pressure to adjust everything. No hesitation, but no excess. Do not vanish. The next one comes in hot. Let me be very clear. When I saw McCarthy listed as limited in practice because of his right hand, my stomach dropped. It is exactly what the Vikings did not need in the most important week of the season, and I am not exaggerating. For anyone living the defend the North mindset, seeing the quarterback of the future dealing with yet another physical issue messes with your mood instantly, especially because his injury history is scary. 23 missed games out of 27 since he arrived. That number weighs heavily. To be honest, that play against Baltimore has been stuck in my head. It had everything to be the moment, the turning point. He launches a beautiful pass to Jefferson, and right there, on the best throw of the day, his hand slams into Donovan Jackson's helmet. That sound alone made my hand hurt. McCarthy himself said he felt it immediately, and I believe him. After that, his rhythm nosedived. Before the hit, 14 completions on 25 attempts for 170 yards. After the hit, 6 completions on 17 attempts for 78 yards. No one can pretend it did not affect him, but we cannot turn this into drama either. Kevin O'Connell downplayed it quickly. Everything checked out medically, nothing serious, just some swelling. They wrapped the hand to keep it from getting worse during the week. And McCarthy followed the same tone, said he is getting nonstop treatment, feels some discomfort, but refuses to use it as an excuse. I like that. I like quarterbacks who take responsibility even when their body complains. Only here do you get this Vikings fan breakdown. McCarthy is fighting 3 battles at once, adapting to the NFL, searching for consistency, and now dealing with this hand issue. And honestly, the last thing he needs is fear of releasing the ball in a must-win game, especially against Chicago, a team that loves picking off rookies. A 7-day slump and a sore finger cannot become the center of his narrative. The female fan base is talking about this too. The concern is real, but it has not turned into panic yet. Quick aside, and look, when he compared the pain to slamming your hand in a car door, I made that involuntary face we all make. Anyone who has done that knows exactly how it feels. Now, the good news, no one in the locker room is talking about him missing the game. Everything points to him playing normally and with the hand better than it was on Sunday. The expectation is that he plays through discomfort, not through real physical limitation. We have seen veteran quarterbacks deliver great games with worse injuries. Still, this cannot be ignored. It is a warning sign. The Vikings need McCarthy healthy if they want any hope for the rest of the season. Drop your thoughts, because the conclusion ties all of this together. You know that deep breath you take after a long day? That is exactly what this moment feels like. We saw an unexpected reinforcement in the secondary, a strategic blueprint for the biggest game of the season, Jefferson confronting himself, Dallas Turner under league pressure, and McCarthy trying to hold his hand and his confidence together. All of it points to one truth. This team is at a turning point. Either they rise now, or the season slips through their fingers. And I genuinely believe there is still purple fire left to burn. Drop a comment. This space belongs to everyone who lives the purple faithful. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go.